Most people think that deliverability issues come from bad subject lines or content that's being spam filtered and so on. But 80% of the time, if your deliverability is tanking, it's probably because you are sending to people who should have been suppressed months ago. In this video, I'll show you how to properly suppress profiles in Klaviyo step by step by step, so you protect your sender reputation and ultimately message only people who wanna hear from you. Before we jump into the how, let's get clear on what a suppressed profile actually is. In Klaviyo, suppression doesn't delete someone from your account. Their profile still exists with all of their purchase history, analytics, events, and every piece of info that you had stored for them intact. So you can still see what they last ordered, which flows they triggered, how they behaved. You just can't email them anymore. So basically, a suppressed profile is somebody who's been marked as do not send marketing emails. And Klaviyo automatically suppresses anyone who unsubscribes from your list, marks you as spam, or hard bounces because, for example, the address doesn't exist. You can also manually suppress people, for example, if they haven't engaged in months, or if you've received a GDPR removal request. In the end, suppression is simply a safeguard. It's how you protect your reputation as a sender, it's how you stay compliant with laws like GDPR and can't spam, and it's how you make sure you're not wasting time and effort sending content to people that are not interested in it, right? It's like pruning a tree. You are cutting off the dead branches or the dead weight so that the rest of your emails can actually reach the desired destination, which is the inbox of people that want to be receiving your emails. Okay, let's imagine that you want to suppress a single profile. Maybe you want to kick them off your account, maybe they requested that they stop receiving your emails. Whatever the case may be, all you need to do is head over to audience and then you click on profiles and then you see this little search bar down there. What you need to do next is type in their email and Klaviyo is going to show you the profile listed down below. When the profile was created, what the location was, when it was last updated, and so on. And then what you need to do is simply open up the actual profile. You're going to see the information of the profile, whether they've received, opened, purchased, and then of course you have your custom properties here. So you have a complete and full picture of what this profile has done, basically. So what you need to do is go to profile actions, and then you can suppress profile. And again, to be clear, what is the difference between a suppression and a profile deletion? When you suppress somebody, you still have their data stored within Klaviyo. Whereas if you delete them, you're fully wiping out the system essentially. So I'm gonna click suppress, and this is it. The profile is now suppressed. And you can see that I've now refreshed and they are actually listed as suppressed. How you would check all of your suppressed profiles is very simple. You would go back to profiles and then on the top right, there's a section that says suppressed profiles. And if you click that, you will be able to find the profile that you just suppressed there, listed out with everybody else that has been suppressed from the account. Okay, you've seen how easy it is to suppress a single profile. But what if you have to suppress hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of profiles? It's actually not that hard. Still, I've went over to audience and then I've went to lists and segments and I've simply typed in open send to find this particular list. And what I'm going to show you applies to any list. It can be this list or any other list. The size doesn't really matter. You would click on those three dots and then you would say suppress current members. And then what it says is that you can just bulk suppress them right away. Of course, you would need to wait 90 days before you unsuppress them. So please do make note of this. But assuming this is not an issue, I'm gonna press bulk suppress, and then this is basically it. If I head over to profiles, and then if I head over to suppressed profiles, they will show up here. In fact, they've started showing up here already. Obviously, when it comes to suppression tactics and who you ultimately kick off the account, you want to be a little bit more thoughtful and a little bit more strategic than I just was. In other words, you don't want to just flat out suppress an entire list. Rather, you want to create segments that have specific conditions that will help you isolate those that are truly not relevant and that you truly should not be messaging. And then you want to suppress those and leave the rest intact. So I'm going to show you a couple of examples. Those are, I would say, fairly standard. And then I'm going to help you reason through how you would go about creating those for your own brand. So what we see in this definition is that, first of all, this is a group of people that can receive messages. They've been created at least 180 days ago. In other words, they've had plenty of time to do any of the actions that you'll see below. They've received emails. So again, we validate that they did have the opportunity to engage, and then we just list out complete inactivity down below. They've never opened, they've never clicked, they've never been on site, they've never viewed the product, never started the checkout, and ultimately never purchased. So it really does feel like this is complete dead weight at this point. Dead weight that we can easily prune, exclude from our campaigns, exclude from our Klaviyo bill also, and ultimately nothing will change for the business. If anything, things will improve because we will have over time a healthier sender reputation. It's pretty standard. You can actually copy and use this definition and you're going to be okay. Having said this, I want you to start thinking about how can you customize those numbers for your own brand so that they are custom tailored to your sending frequency. For example, if you are sending an email every single day, and there are brands that do this, do you really need to wait like 100 days until you suppress somebody? No, if you send them 30 emails in a row or 60 emails in a row and they've engaged with 0 of them, then probably they're not going to engage if you send them one more, right? So you could have much tighter filters if you are sending so frequently, and then you could be kicking people off much more aggressively. Similarly, if you're sending one newsletter a month, people don't have that many opportunities to engage with your brand. So I wouldn't rush to kick them off unless I had sent them at least 5 or 6 emails, because you're simply not contacting them enough to really determine that they are actually unengaged. So what I'm trying to say is that this definition is a starting point, but what you should really do is play around with those numbers until you find the sweet spot does make sense for your brand. In most cases, most companies have a robust automation setup. They do send 1 or 2 emails per week, so customers do get the opportunity to engage. If they never engage and months pass, it's unlikely that they'll do so in the future. Anecdotally, I should not say anecdotally because we do have actually a fairly big sample size at this point, but based on what we see in the agency, what tends to happen is that those that sign up, that do purchase, tend to do so within the first week and then decreasingly so for the first month. So when it comes to suppressing prospects, I think you can be fairly aggressive, because if they don't purchase in the first 2-3 months, then it's very unlikely they'll do so. And you can always unsuppress them later on if you really want to. This is how you suppress profiles. I hope it was helpful. If you did find this valuable, if you did find it instructive, please make sure you subscribe. It really keeps me motivated. And I promise you, the more videos I post, the better the videos will get. And over time, this will be one of the best resources there are in the world about how to use Klaviyo, how to do retention marketing, lifecycle marketing, and ultimately how to do e-commerce in a cleverer and more effective way. Thank you for watching.